moment while I wait for the droves and droves to come attacking, frothing at the mouth, seeing that I'm live. And oh my god, there it is. 5,000 people. Okay, anyway. I do this for myself. A quick reminder, Stuck in the Middle is a show that I am active on. We're really trying and striving to continue to bring content and conversation at least once, twice, hell, if we can, 3 times a week. But I used to do something that I titled appropriately Story Time, where I would reminisce on the chaos of my past. A quick introduction. Or at least let me just, instead of telling my story, let it be understood. What I'm about to discuss, I'm not going to backpedal, and I want to stay on course to produce the story from my history, from my past. My past is very far, ideologically, to where I am today, and what I think, what I believe. So with that being said, I think it's time to tell the tale of the time I got too close to Antifa. And it's healthy to reflect and realize just how close I was getting to something that is clearly just so abhorrent and dangerous. Oh, there they are, little freaks. So, years and years back, this was when I was still celebrating. What's up, my friend Shep? When I was still celebrating being a radical liberal. I didn't realize how radicalized I was way back when, I think this was my 20s. This was when I was going door to door in a southern state, Florida, in a trailer park and knocking and trying to persuade people to vote for Bernie Sanders. I was doing this with a friend of mine who is totally lost in the Kool-Aid. Now I can't even talk to him because I've changed my mind mostly. So it starts like this. I'm in like every Bernie Sanders Facebook page that I can possibly find at that time. And so I start getting new friends, we'll go with that term, very loosely. One of the very popular people, I'm going to assume that those are maybe some of my friends on other social media outlets, like, oh, look, hey, man, it's that dude I know that hits the live button. So anyway, so as I had noticed, there was this one figure who always carried a lot of crowds with him online. Like, he very much had an established presence. Every post he made, like, people would grovel towards him. He was clearly like an admin of this page, and I had no idea. Well, yes, I did. Let me not be disingenuous. I knew that it was under the guise of voting for the politician we wanted at the time. And he saw some of the way I would articulate myself or type out posts and use memes and all that. And I can't remember because it's many years ago, but he did reach out to me on a personal level in private messaging and DMs, and we get to talking, and he seems to be giving me a test, and I'm not aware that I am being tested. He starts asking me a little bit, things that are a bit beyond the pale and scope than what I was signing up for. Remember, to me, Antifa was just a name. I was very ignorant to the practices, although I do recall being invited to go to protests all those years ago, and man, I was very close. So anyway, I guess you could say I was kind of being groomed, and he seemed to be orchestrating to have me showered with more attention, and I was feeling emboldened, and my rhetoric was increasing. They'd see that I was sharing more of their propaganda on my personal page on Facebook, and this seemed to please him. I didn't know I was pleasing anybody. And then before I knew it, I am sent a phone number. A very obscure phone number, but a phone number nonetheless. He would not give me his full real name, but he wanted to talk with me on the phone. And he wanted to do so and have me speak with somebody else who I never really got to speak with more. But what was discussed is as far as I'm happy it went. This is when I started to get the vibe that something more was going on than just getting Bernie Sanders to win the election. So I take this phone call. I make the call. This is when the questionnaire process, this was private. who knows if they recorded it, starts to get a little more heated up. They start testing me on direct knowledge of communism, socialism, after they have identified that I really was only passionate about healthcare being more available in here. They started to slip more things and incentivize me to get more and more extreme, even though at the time my only interest was to elect Bernie Sanders and work on healthcare in this country. I remember he suggested, or no, he asked me, do you have, hey Trish, he asked me, do you have a copy of the Anarchist Cookbook? I remember in middle school I did, so I kind of told a half-truth, and I said, oh, yeah, I remember it has, like, the ingredients to make stuff, right? Like the Molotov cocktail or something like that. He's like, yes, that's very important. Do you need another copy? We have a more modified one that we can send it to you if you just, with your email, so on and so forth. So the questions, he was starting to introduce me to new literature, trying to remember Karl Marx, all the basics. I'm sure I don't have to list them outright. And the conversations went from arming me and assuring that I was interested in participating in live events, like real events going off the internet, and how comfortable I would be, learning some things like making homegrown material. And from there, it was all dredging up to, hey, let's meet at this protest that's going to happen over here, over there. I started to get cold feet. Because towards the end, this is where I started to feel the temperature kind of rise too much to the point where I was no longer in a comfort zone. He was like, how do you feel about shedding blood for the cause? I was like, excuse me? I mean, I should have known. I was younger then, but I should have really, really known where this was all heading. Remember, so with Charlie Kirk's killer, unaliver, stupid YouTube jargon, no, his killer, let's not be mistaken, the left right now is trying to paint it like it's an impossibility that this kid was radicalized in a span of 6 months through virtual whatever. I was radicalized and almost pushed to going in real life in a span of 2 months. And I already believed in some of their concepts, but they wanted me to believe more. They wanted me to, take a vow to communism and spreading communism. They wanted me to get involved in local chapters. And when I hear about this shooter's Discord messages, I know exactly what is being hinted at. These groups, they kind of groom you, coddle you, they make you believe that you're very special, very important, that you're fighting for something bigger than yourself, and I understand how this appeal goes to the head of the mentally ill. Because I'd imagine the mentally ill individual, let's say this kid Tyler, leaves his family, homesick, grew up in a household that he maybe had a lot of conflicts with. We know that he argued about Charlie Kirk, and literally, I quote, said, Charlie Kirk spreads hatred amongst the masses. So the fact that the left is still trying to paint this person as a MAGA anything is laughable. And the evidence that we continue to be given still point, like this whole Groper thing, I don't know anything about, but it's clear where this person's bread was getting buttered. So I digress. I'm just using the term empathize, and I would hope any of you that is using Charlie Kirk's words about empathy, go read the whole fucking context, go watch the entire clip, because he makes a very concise point about how empathy can be polarizing and sympathy is something that's somewhat more, you're making it less about yourself. You're having sympathy, because with empathy, apparently, you're just trying to relate because you've been through something similar, which is not a lost cause. All these little sound bites are not to justify what happened, and that's why I'm so disgusted to the point where I'm unfriending people and I'm going to church after 30 years. So here I am. If only I could remember, because after I had this conversation with this narcissistic, sociopathic, anarchist, liberal, communist. Can I even call him a liberal after this point? After we got so far into the conversation where he was asking me how comfortable I was with making bombs. Oh man, I'm getting put on an FBI list. For the record, this was when I was like 22. I am 40 years old. I look young, but this is true story in my life. And the phone calls, we had like 3 or 4 phone calls, was absolutely uncomfortable, and then to the last one, terrifying. He was slowly and surely making me more comfortable with, or assessing how comfortable I would be with getting certain ingredients and having them in my own home, putting them together, and obviously making something of some destructive power and introducing it to the populace, because this was all dredging up to a campaign that was pro Bernie Sanders. How disenfranchising that was to me, because at the time, Bernie Sanders, at the time to me, represented progress, hence the name Progressive Patriot. I always thought it wasn't radical to ask for progress, but holy shit, how mistaken. I'm going to leave the progressive there, even though I disavow them entirely, because I don't see one single progressive champion that embodies the spirit of what I want to see in this country. It's a reminder of how far I've come. And patriot, I can't say I'm a full-on patriot, but I absolutely identify far more with the ideology. I'm finding the embrace I get for them: vigils, prayer, community. I'm going to a Bible study church group tonight at 7 p.m. There's going to be like 40 of us. I would imagine maybe it's going to be even larger. I mean, this is the difference I'm seeing, and I hate to make it so black and white, cut and dry, left versus right, good versus evil. But where are the fires? Where's the hellstorm of righteous anger that we all feel? I see the lefties online are being way more cautious, deleting their comments. These are personal friends that I have. God, my old friend from high school. You're so lucky that you deleted that. I wouldn't do anything with it, but you probably thought you were just engaging in discourse. You work in the medical field, and you made it very clear where you stood on Charlie Kirk, and you defended everybody for feeling justified in celebrating his death, and you deleted it. And I know it would probably please a lot of people for me to cancel you, but this has been a very confusing time, I think, for all of us. Well, get a grip on your... I'm crashing out? Okay. Well, consider this for a crash out here. Crackerjack. I'm crashing out right now, okay? Fuck you and Antifa and those that think like you. If me articulating myself in any way makes you uncomfortable, or you're enjoying this content, thanks for the engagement. Keep on keeping on. Stay as active as possible. Leap from the cowardice of being a rando on the internet, where your name only exists as an account or an alt account with Woody Woodpecker's face, and go ahead and put yourself out there and stand on the convictions of which you believe, and enjoy not the freedom of consequence, but the direct causation of what you want to spew. I'm okay. Whatever. Antifa, not. If you view this as being unhinged, where I am simply going from where I was far left to where I am nowhere near far right, but a Trump supporting voter who is now, after 30 years of being an atheist, going to church, and I am inspired by the call to action and of Charlie Kirk's mission. I followed him very often for at least, because I don't want to embellish, 2+ years, 4+ years. I always appreciated and enjoyed watching debates, especially where somebody was quite good at it, and he was. And his message, this liberal mentality that he was spewing a hatred, how is spreading the viewpoint of coming to Christ anything akin to hatred? Go watch the videos where he accepts gay people into Turning Point USA. He says we are focusing too much on gender identity and sexuality. I may not agree with the lifestyle as a Christian, but I want you to know, you as a person, we absolutely embrace and welcome you. What? Wait, Nick? When you say Nick, is it Fuentes? So I don't know enough about Nick Fuentes. I've been watching some of his stuff because obviously he's made himself quite polarizing during this time. And I don't have strong opinions. He has strong words, and strong words will attract strong attention. That's the way it goes. I think what kind of inspired me to even hit this button. Nick is a closeted. What's up, C-Fouls? Salute to C-Fouls right there. Yeah, I don't know what to say because I don't have enough context, and I will not be the fool that I see my old liberal buddies being by going off of sound clips and sound bites and making and erasing the concept of context within and of itself for the sake of their own agenda and the whole process of, look, he was one of yours, no, he was one of theirs, he was this or that, he was some op of the right, when I think that's been 100% positively debunked. I hope that we do get access to these Discord messages and groups, because if, just like the story I shared, when Antifa was literally grooming me and preparing me to, first, by making me feel more comfortable with having illegal substances in my home and building shit, like they were sending and posting schematics and blueprints to put shit together, and then what do you think comes next after, oh, and make sure you read this literature and that literature, we have all these books for you, then let's all go meet up at this protest. What would be the natural expectation after that? So it came to a fever pitch when there was a call and there was another person on the line that spoke very little, so much so that I can barely remember his voice, and something was supposed to go down, and that was it. And it just got too close when it was too clear that it was more about communism and infiltration of our country. I made it clear that this was too extreme for me, and boy did they ever disappear like Batman from a rooftop with James Gordon standing at the bat signal. Disappeared. Kicked out of the groups. I didn't say anything to counter them. I didn't go after them. I just said, I'm not comfortable. They got nervous. The phone number was no longer accessible, and I was removed from every Antifa social media group that I was a part of back in my very early 20s. So, that's the juxtaposition, and I guess almost the culmination of the story in its entirety to the best of my ability. My memory is not what it once was. But I wanted to share how quickly and how easily a group like Antifa can and will, and they will obfuscate the facts. They teach you kind of their own counterintelligence so you can make things look a certain way that they are not, to confuse the public. They have their own little cross intelligence, and it comes from the guise of like liberal college professor shit, and it's amazing. It goes from, okay, trans lives are that should have a right to exist, to, okay, if you don't agree with my sentiment about trans ideology, you're an enemy of the people. It goes literally from cold to boiling hot. And I recognize that. You could say, if you want to say I'm crashing out, I crashed out then when I felt as uncomfortable as I did. And they deleted themselves from my life. I could not find them for months because, to be honest, I had enough concern that I wanted to collect some data to at least put something out to the authorities. And I, of course, who knows what they're doing or what they've done. But at the very least, I can say I'm glad that it's in my rear view. I just registered with Turning Point USA, by the way. That's the last thing I did. I have officially registered with Turning Point. I give a very small donation, and I'm looking for the local chapters in my vicinity. And I'm glad that the church I'm a part of had the lunch that they did when I went. First time in 30 years. Most amazing, accepting embrace that I have felt in the many years that I have been struggling with a world that I barely recognize. Yeah, call me a boomer. I know I look young. Those alleged authorities are the ones doing this. Hey, what's up, Patty, by the way? The alleged... oh, well, look, I just I watched a video of a self-described ballistics expert. I'm going to take it with a grain of salt, and it's probably going to go viral, very viral. I'm trying to focus on the calls to action, and the calls to action seem to be unity and getting educated and maybe falling back to some form of faith. That's a call to action I can stand by, and having your head on a swivel, maybe having your hands a little shaky, because there are some people that I have called friend who have said the most vile things that if they were around me, I would not turn my back on them, not for a fucking second. But when it comes to the FBI, Kash Patel ruined the investigation. Crowder took one for the team by releasing the information he did. It's important that he did, and I'm very eager to see what the government does with Steven Crowder, because he did pretty much for greater good, I hope. I hope it just wasn't for clicks and views. I hope it had to be that he was a little twisted up with sorrow, because he knew Charlie Kirk well. Their models are quite the same in terms of how they engage with their points and their ideology. And he released information from a source he had in the ATF. Now that person that in the ATF has been placed on administrative leave, and Steven Crowder is now facing an indictment for that leak. So I guess we can infer, for one, obvious interference with the investigation, but apparently it's either that they wanted to bury it, which was what he said his source was fearing. What does that tell you? That tells you that the ATF was already shaky, or that at least this individual was getting maybe a vibe that they were not going to publicize this information. We can make the argument perhaps it was too soon to put any of that information out there, but it's important information, because if we didn't have at least that, the whole argument that the left would be proposing, they might be dominating that conversation, because all we'd be hearing from the media, funded by George Soros, covered, and that was spoken by J.D. Vance, somebody I would naturally not support. But the times, like the left pushed me out when I didn't want to vote for Hillary Clinton. I couldn't. I hate her and the local chapters, Debbie Wasserman Schultz, AOC, all these fuckers. When I walked away from the Democratic Party and became right-wing in my ideology and voting, they showed their true colors again and again. And so they've pushed me again and again, and they've even pushed me back into faith. And the rubber band effect that I'm seeing is kind of a beautiful thing. It's amazing that the left right now, Destiny just made a fool of himself, and allegedly, and I hope it's true, he has been deplatformed on Twitch. Next is Hassan Piker. Hassan Piker has to go. If we want to feel like there's been any justice done, that little Hamas-supporting, glazing terrorist who's had at least 6 main publications, major outlet magazines, glaze his punk-ass, anti-American, fake socialist, rich motherfucking prestige or whatever, his persona, they're pushing it on us, and he's being completely fake, and now toting and gaslighting everybody, saying, I am the high-profile individual Charlie Kirk was supposed to debate in 2 weeks, and now I can't. But you can see all of the clips that are circulating, and go watch them in full context. Unlike Charlie Kirk's words, they actually show you that the apple barely fell from the tree, it's the fucking tree. Hassan Hamas Piker is someone that has openly said, go get them and off them all. And Destiny and others of his ilk have literally said, go after the family and finish the job. So this is where all of these things in such a small amount of time, it's very crazy that I decided to get back on social media after just a 4-day hiatus. And this is all of the shit that happens. But maybe it was right on time to see the kind of environment I'm really in, to understand my surroundings better, and to be inspired to go to a church after so many years, to meet the pastor of a fucking mega church. I felt so small in his presence, because the dude commands thousands and thousands of people that hung on his every word, and not in the cult kind of way, okay? I just mean the dude is a presence in and of itself, and the church is massive, but I still felt very much a part of a community. It felt like being a kid in a neighborhood where I knew all my friends and neighbors. Unlike this day and age with social media, where we're over. You think so, Ethan? Come panel up. Now, Jesus, Kurt, is this what it takes for you to come into what? I haven't had any interest in talking about the little fucking country algorithm that you freaks are in, but dude, just get your place back on the back of Upchurch's bike, bro. All right, man, I'm sorry, that was rude. No, please start a GoFundMe for PP's T-shirt fucking drive here, cause oh no, look at this. Let's all focus on this. Forget the shit I'm saying. Making shit up. You're invited to any panel on Stuck in the Middle or here. Panel up, Ethan Styles. Comment somewhere, anywhere. Email me. Email me. Is it a super V-neck? I don't know, man. Dude, I know. Let's all just focus on my motherfucking T-shirt. Jesus Christ. Having a conversation about the bigger things in this world, and we wonder why this country rap genre area is so stupid and laughable. So anyway, but hey, Ethan, progressivepatriot44@gmail.com. That's an open invitation to speak to me, belittle me, and show you got some balls. Show that you got some balls. No, let Captain Kurt show what he's all about, dude. It's amazing with all the important things happening in this country. Him and Upchurch glazing simps like him. I'm trying not to be disrespectful, but I just don't understand. I have shut my fucking mouth about that loser, that Adderall addicted freak, now acting like he was the first one to come up with like a redneck brawl idea, only in a more chopped up and edited form. Let's do it privately and release it for maximum fucking value. And all of a sudden, like, I'm talking about shit unrelated to that madness, and it shows us a strong point of how distracted we can get with stupid, petty bullshit, and try to make a quote-unquote career, an entire persona of being relevant, that when real shit in the real world happens, that's the only lane you think in, and all you can talk about is my fucking V-neck t-shirt. Yeah, hey, V-neck fucking power, you silly person. I don't know, like, I don't want to be too aggressive, rude. I want to maintain a level head, because that's the path I've been on. I am praying every day and night. I pray every time that I drive home from my job. So yeah, I'm trying to take a better path, and I will not be distracted, even though mission accomplished. You know, I guess the trolls enjoy the responses they get, and I don't care if I'm also clipped up in any shape or form. Go ahead. Show me the entirety of your life and the substance that it lacks by just telling on yourself and what your attention stays on. It's sad. It's sad. Like, I'm so over Upchurch and his antics. He is a low-cal. He is more of a low-cal than I've ever seen. His downfall is sad, pitiful, and watching him, and I've been keeping my mouth shut, but his glazers are going to come in here and do what they do, and I'm just going to be provoked to say what I'm going to say, and often they don't like to hear what I got to say. So I'll stay repping my V-neck shirts that I've seen a live stream on about for a fucking eternity. V-neck, Progressive Patriot, the V-neck wearer, okay? Let's do that. Meanwhile, we'll see how unhinged you Adderall simping freaks are with your tramp stamps and your fucking, Church is really, he's not as bad as he looks when we're looking right at it. You can't tell us that the sky ain't fucking blue when we're looking right at it. So enjoy your little algorithm corner soaked with madness and insanity, where the people you look up to are people like Dagburn, who went up, and I know it was a gotcha moment, he went up on Triple T's. You remember what he said? I thought you didn't want any Chomo supporters up here. What a fucking... So that's your news, right? I'm trying to stay focused on the more important stuff. Sure, I need comedy every now and again, so I'll peak. This is a part of the growth. Hey, go ahead and subscribe to Stuck in the Middle if you just type in the Stuck in the Middle show, or go to my community posts. I think Thursday night we're going to go back on again. I'm very proud. Maybe it was a fluke. We got 23,000 views, and it always feels cringy to acknowledge a number, but that's a milestone. So it was inspiring. We had conversations with lefties, righties, people of every ideology, and it was refreshing. And we're going to do it again come this Thursday. Thank you, Patty. Yeah, they lick that fucking plate, don't they? Hey, Snook, sweetheart. Oh. Yeah, yeah, it's a total onesie, Drago. I'm sure you're very interested. Jesus Christ. You guys are really, really impressive. I think, you know what? Your behavior is also content in and of itself. And I don't mind it whatsoever. If anything, you know, I get inspired enough. No, I can't waste any precious actual live time, like a whole video or stream roasting random fucking names. You are a random. You are obscure. And apparently that's how your legacy will be remembered. A no-name nobody that drops some provocative comments here and there that are funny to a few, meanwhile ignoring the bigger messages and occurrences of our reality and world. Boy, what a celebration. No wonder you guys are... Creek Squad, Tweak Squad is just doing so fantastic right now. They really got their eye on the prize, man. Go to Upchurch Fans YouTube channel or Apple Creek. Start reading those comments, because it's getting harder and harder for me to find a single positive thing about your entire cult. It's amusing. And I think I can say with some level of confidence, quote me on this if you'd like, that there's at least 2 documentaries simultaneously being worked on about Upchurch and all of you Cult Squad motherfuckers. And it's time. Just like the liberals are trying to delete all of the evidence of their behavior, you're gonna be in that same seat. Because fucking Cult Squad, Tweak Squad, Adderall Squad, you're just akin to the fucking maddening liberals, insane liberals that are being fired from their jobs in mass. And it's not a attack on freedom of speech. It's fucking, you have your freedom of speech, now face the consequences. Just like Upchurch is gonna face the motherfucking... the judge that will probably and hopefully give him his just desserts with a lack of representation. That lawyer stepped down real fast. Probably saw something coming that Upchurch himself is not willing to accept. And I think his little circle jerk orbiters and glazers are realizing the ship is going down, or it's down, and we just don't want to acknowledge it until we have an official press release. I don't know. To the point where he has gone full Dagburn. He's like, I'm going to box the guy that's touring and staying relevant, and had an actual emotional reaction to somebody who was important and is important and is continuing to have an influence on all of us. So, speech does... Oh, Joe Pond, you think you got me in a gotcha? So speech does have consequences. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. If you'd like to elaborate, you know the show, you can call in. I have been unavailable. I'm going to a group church event tonight. But if your point is somehow trying to be twisted up, my old friend, my still current friend, if you're trying to make that into a segue into Charlie Kirk being dismissed from this physical plane, you are sorely, sorely mistaken. That this is a consequence. That's mental illness responding. So it's not because he was utilizing free speech. He never threw the first stone unless words are that strong to you that you get that triggered. You remember the clip where the girl rips his cap off and it said ice on it, and he was offered to press charges? He's like, oh my god, no, please don't. Because he understood. He was the moderate. He was the nice guy. Alright, some of you, I don't want to loop you in, Joe Pon. I don't want to loop you in, but people like you that are advocating that his speech in all of its forms, and mostly sound bites with lack of context, makes this okay, you're on a dangerous, dangerous thread. A dangerous, dangerous thread. So, consequence. Being stupid on the internet, celebrating someone's death, getting fired. Okay. Consequence. Speaking something that you believe and trying to persuade people, equaling being, fuck you, being destroyed and removed from this planet, your life ended and being stolen from your children and your wife. No, that's mental illness. That's criminal. Speech has always had consequences. Always had consequences. And now I think a lot of your lot, if I may, I'm not looping you because you haven't celebrated his, I remember what you said on Stuck in the Middle. You didn't outright celebrate his death, but you seem to be very passive about it, and, I'll leave you with that as your attempted gotcha moment in here. The avocation of what occurred as a consequence of what he said is fucking insane to me. But I know you well enough in real life to where I think I know the contents of your heart, and I don't believe you even truly believe some of the shit that you have said, but you always have an opportunity to say it, and that was what Charlie Kirk fought for. Now I'm gonna have to, fuck it, I'm not changing the hashtags. Let the cracker squad, nope, not cracker squad, I'm a cracker, or cracker looking, cracker passing. Let the tweakers of Cult Squad see this video, and I hope they get to see where their focus is and how fucking small it is in the world we are in at present. Things are heating up, and it's time to, I hate this draw a line in the sand shit. No, man, it's carved in concrete at this point. Yeah, yep, I just said Cracker Squad, so I'm a racist now. Let's get me canceled quick. Quickly, yep. So, the amount of white people, and me being white, let's go with that. This is a reaction of cancel culture going in such a wrong way where it appears they're shooting themselves in the foot. Yeah, okay, I'm racist against the majority of my family, including the Hispanics and the whites. Yep, forget my attending church and trying to find some healing or all of that. Let's just go with this and put it into, you're acting like a liberal. You're acting like a liberal. You want to twist it into something big and have a gotcha moment. Enjoy it and go to your circle jerks with it. And keep on with the blind disliking / hatred, because I accept a public figure to any degree, and I'm just a very, very small example of one. But I do respect the other show I do to a great, great example. I'm proud of what it's accomplishing and what the future holds with some of the guests that we're going to have. And I'll be in studio at the end of this week. So yeah, Johnny Johnson, help me, just with all due respect, because I don't think you're a bad person. I just know you don't like me. Call into the Stuck in the Middle show and give me a good what for, or clip this shit up or something. And please explain to me and the audience that I'm such a racist because I had what would be called a Freudian slip. And I was going to say, because there's so many options. Crack Squad, Cult Squad, Tweak Squad, Adderall Squad, whatever. And I said cracker. Oh God. That's it. I'm over. I'm canceled. Okay. Hey, my bad, dude. I see ya. I see ya in some other chats, and I just don't know where people stand. So if I'm going a little unhinged for the moment, forgive me if my head's on that proverbial swivel. I just have no trust for anybody on the internet because it's the place that it is. So forgive me if I'm going at you. I am a little volatile, and I'm trying to temper that volatility by practicing what I'm preaching and what Charlie Kirk preached, what Jesus preached. I never thought I'd be talking about Jesus again for 30 years. An atheist, man. You know what? I think I've had my fun online being live. I'm looking forward to this church group thing tonight, because it's going to possibly just, not maybe change my life, but at the very least, it'll soothe my soul and take out some of the rage that I've been feeling. I've been going on like a one-man army kind of a march, kind of trying my best to understand aggressively the people I grew up with, because I'm still on that boomer-ass Facebook, and asking them, what did you mean by this? What are you accomplishing by this? What are you doing right now? And at the majority of the time, finding myself unfriending them because I don't want that shit in my life. WSP, you're a classy individual. Oh, what did, Special Agent, who owns this channel, Hold on, hold on. I love it. I love it. Me. Come for me. So I'm going to church tonight. AD, the fucking fraud human, the husk of a individual was in here. AD, find a soul, man. Get a soul. You called Charlie Kirk just a rich white guy, and that's why y'all called. That's all. That's the only reason y'all care. Meanwhile, he has inspired an atheist to go to church, and this is my second time in a span of just a few days. So, that's it. Here's the exit. Fuck off, special agent. Get a life. Jesus H. Christ. Hey guys, look, the FBI. Let's do that. Oh, Captain Kurt, are you... Because I've called you out, is that why? Because I've called you out for acting like a bishop, the old bishop of Creek Squad. You got a tramp stamp of your fucking, of your idol. It's like you idolize him more than you should. And I think you're really sad and jealous of Gobble, but you're getting closer to him to be closer to church. What can I say? So, all the hearing things you don't like makes me a loser. That's fine. Then I'd rather be that than be you, Mr. Tramp Stamp. Okay. Take care. Gonna do my thing. Alert all the authorities, please. Get them notified. Get them notified. Tell them about Crack Squad and all the documentaries coming out. Peace, love, and all that good stuff. God bless. It's a fucking adventure.